Hi guys, welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Carlo Ancelotti and the potential of him taking over as the next Everton manager. We're going to be going through a little bit of a series of events, a timeline if you like, of everything that's happened over the last 24 hours or so. It's been quite a manic 24 hours regarding Carlo Ancelotti and his potential move to Everton. We've had Sky Sports saying that the deal has been agreed and that he's due to come in and could potentially be in before this weekend. And we've had various other reporters saying that there's still no agreement that's been made and there's still a long time to go yet. So, obviously we're going to talk about it today. If you are enjoying, please do hit that like button. If you haven't already checked out our live game preview of the Carabao Cup quarter-final fixture tomorrow night at Goodison Park against Leicester, then please do go and check that out. It only takes a second. It's live on the channel now. Anyway, let's get started. So obviously, like I said, it's been a little bit of a crazy 24 hours for Everton Football Club. It's been a bit of a crazy 24 hours for Evertonians because, you know, couple of days ago we knew that we were in the running for a new manager. We knew that obviously there was a load of candidates, Unai Emery being one of them, David Moyes being one of them, and Carlo Ancelotti was one of them as well. But over the last 24 hours there's been a real turn in events that would state that Carlo Ancelotti is to become Everton manager very soon. So firstly, there was a couple of rumours yesterday afternoon from Sky to say that Carlo Ancelotti had arrived on Merseyside and that he was ready to talk to Everton and he was ready to discuss contacts with Everton. They were quickly broken down. They were quickly dismissed by various reporters such as Gallian Balig, the Spanish reporter. I've probably absolutely butchered that name, but you know who he is, who said that he's not. He's actually in Rome with his wife and he's due to go back to Naples for a couple of days and then he's due to actually go on holiday to Vancouver. A couple of writers from The Athletic also voiced that as well. So it's a little bit of a confusing day yesterday because we had Sky saying that he was in Merseyside and he was talking to Everton, and even at one point saying that an agreement had been made, a verbal agreement, a proposal had been made to Carlo Ancelotti that had been agreed for him to become the next Everton manager. And then he had other, information sources, like I said, Gallian Balig, a couple of sources from The Athletic, I believe Dominic King as well, saying that, that wasn't the case and he was still in Rome and that, no deal had been agreed by the club yet. So like I said, a little bit strange there, and I think a lot of Evertonians, including myself, started to think, well, is this just another ploy from Sky for, to get Evertonians to put a load of money on Carlo Ancelotti on Sky Bet of him being the potential next Everton manager? And I think a little bit of flashback started to come, back to us about, the situation with Wilfried Zaha in the summer, where Sky basically fed us a load of bollocks and to say that, Wilfried Zaha could potentially move to Everton and a deal could go on transfer deadline day, and then we shortly found out that there wasn't actually a deal in place for Wilfried Zaha. There was one bid by Everton and it was rejected, and that was it, whereas Sky made us sort of believe that there was multiple bids and that the potential of him coming was quite high. And we were all sort of thinking that, I think yesterday, obviously, when Sky was saying that he was in Merseyside and he was talking to Everton and there was a real potential of him coming to Everton. And then other reporters saying that he wasn't, he was in Rome, and that, even a couple of reporters saying that he's looking to take a break from football until at least the summer and get away for a couple of months. So obviously we come into today thinking, well, again, don't really know what to believe, don't really know what we should go off. Everton last night, actually, at about 10:30, 20-11, which is a real strange time for Everton to do anything, but Everton last night actually made a sort of a formal statement, tweeted out a formal statement, put a formal statement out on the social medias to say that, they have not offered a contact to any manager. This is obviously after the news that Sky Sports are reporting that a contact had been offered. Everton stated that no contact offer has been offered to any manager. However, no manager has taken themselves away from the process. So basically saying that we've been looking for the new manager since Marco Silva left, no contact offer has been made, and no manager has taken themselves away from that process, which is very interesting in itself because it leaves us a lot of questions on, the situation obviously regarding Victor Pereira, who apparently, according to Sky, took himself out of the running to be the next Everton manager because he's happy where he is in China. Being, really interesting comments from Everton regarding the fact that nobody that we've approached has actually taken themselves out of the process. But anyway, again, I think the biggest bit of information there was that no contact offer has been made. It obviously goes against the earlier Sky report that said that a contact offer for Carlo Ancelotti was on the table. So then we come into today, thinking, okay, well, maybe Everton are just trying to cover themselves. Maybe Everton are just trying to shift focus away from the new manager and away from Carlo Ancelotti and purely put focus on the game, tomorrow night against against Leicester City in the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup. Like I said, we spoke on the game preview about how important that game is and how important it is that we go into it purely thinking about that game of football and not thinking about what's going to happen in the future, because at the end of the day, listen, it's a massive opportunity for us to proceed in a cup competition. It's a massive opportunity for us to get to a semi-final, and again, another opportunity for Duncan Ferguson's Everton to put in a real tough, hard-working performance at Goodison Park. So obviously Everton releasing that statement last night to say that no contact offer has been made. We then come into this morning and we're thinking, right, okay, I wonder if some of the journalists will now back down a little bit on the rumours. I wonder if some of the journalists will now sort of come away from it now that Everton have come out and made an official statement. But they didn't. The Telegraph reported this morning that Ancelotti has agreed the deal to become Everton manager, and he could even be in charge of Everton this weekend for the game against Arsenal, and the contract is due to run until the summer of 2024. So that perked all our ears up. We were all listening. We were all wondering, hang on. Last night the club said that there was no contact offer to be made. Literally 9 hours later, there's a contact offer there, and Ancelotti could be in before the weekend. Sky Sports then literally echoed that and said that Ancelotti could be in for the weekend and could manage Everton against Arsenal, and also said that the announcement could be made on Thursday or Friday. This all come from Sky's reporter Fabrizio Romano, who stated an agreement had been reached, and all that needs to happen now is Carlo Ancelotti to go over to Naples and to have a little bit of a discussion with Napoli, because I believe he is still under a couple of contractual obligations with them, and that needs to be sorted. Obviously, he said that there shouldn't be any issue with that because he was sacked from his role as Napoli manager, so he can't see there being any issue with Napoli's hierarchy having a problem with Carlo Ancelotti coming to Everton or signing a contract with another football club due to the fact that they sacked him himself. But that's the reason as to why it hasn't been announced yet. That's the reason as to why it hasn't been fully agreed, is because there's still a little bit of bits and bobs that need to be sorted on that point of view for Carlo Ancelotti. And obviously, again, that perked everybody's ears up, didn't it? We were all starting to look now, okay, Everton have come out last night and said no contact offer has been made, but Sky Sports are saying it's been made and that he could be in, and it could be announced on Thursday or Friday. Fabrizio Romano, who again is a journalist who's worked for Sky, is to say that there is an agreement and that all this needs to happen now is a conversation with Napoli, which shouldn't take too long. The Telegraph, who again have been quite reliable at times over the last 2 or 3 weeks, saying that he's coming in and the contract could run till the summer of 2024, and I think we all started to get a little bit excited then, and it just ran through the entire day really. Gazzetta dello Sport, who are obviously an Italian newspaper I believe, said that the contract will run until 2022, not 2024, and Alisher Usmanov was in a meeting with Carlo Ancelotti and Farhad Moshiri, and they both discussed this. The opportunity of him bringing on the role, taking on the role, as Everton manager in length. And this was something that I think a lot of Evertonians took notice of. Not just the fact that, again, it's another source coming out and saying that he's agreed the deal to become Everton manager, but because Alisher Usmanov's name was mentioned. Now, Usmanov obviously is somebody that Evertonians have had an inkling that has given, let's say, gifts to Farhad Moshiri in the form of money to him to, improve Everton and improve our business. Obviously, I believe it's his cousin or brother who runs Finch Farm, USM Finch Farm. His brother or his cousin, I think it is, has got the name and rights for that. And there's been a rumour for quite some time now over, over a period of months that, Usmanov is in some form, involved in Everton's proceedings, involved in Everton's board, and, is officially due to be announced as a part of Everton's board very, very soon. And it's very, very interesting to hear this rumour, hear this news outlet say that he was massively involved in the agreement with Carlo Ancelotti, and obviously it would state that he's got an involvement in the Everton board and the decision making because he was there with Farhad Moshiri in that meeting in London. One thing we know is for certain, taking away the fact that Sky are saying he's agreed a 4-year deal, Dominic King saying that it's not quite agreed yet, taking away from all of that, one thing we do know as a cert is that Carlo Ancelotti has met in London face to face with Farhad Moshiri, and he is excited, and he is definitely considering the proposal made by Farhad Moshiri to become the next Everton manager. Obviously, it goes a little bit further than that. Sky then, as well as TalkSport, basically out of nowhere said, about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock this afternoon, stating that Carlo Ancelotti had agreed a 4.5-year deal to become the next Everton manager. David, who is his son, will take up the place as assistant manager, as well as Duncan Ferguson, who obviously we know is the current interim manager of Everton Football Club, done fantastically well over the last couple of weeks. Hopefully carries on that form tomorrow night against Leicester and gets us a really, really important win in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. But again, something that really, really, really stuck with Evertonians was the importance of Duncan Ferguson being at the heart of that appointment and being at the heart of Carlo Ancelotti's team going forward, because I think one thing we've all said as a fan base since Duncan's come in, and whilst Duncan's been doing well, is that, you know, if Carlo Ancelotti comes in, or whoever comes in as the next Everton manager, Duncan Ferguson needs to be there in the heart of that, because he's proven that he can get these players riled up, he can put that fight, he can put that passion, he can put that urgency into this group of players, and that's exactly what they need. And also he can teach them the basics, and he can get over to them how it's important to just battle for every ball, play a simple position and play basic football. And I think we all were massively interested in finding out whether, if it was Carlo Ancelotti to come in, and we'll talk about Carlo Ancelotti himself in a second and some of his achievements, well, a lot of his achievements in football, we were all very interested in to see whether he would warm to the idea of having, you know, a club legend and Duncan Ferguson being next to him. And obviously, according to Sky and TalkSport, that is going to be the case. Greg O'Keefe, who obviously is from the Echo, really close reporter to Everton Football Club, somebody that I trust his information an awful lot, along with a couple of other journalists, but I definitely trust there's an awful lot, said that Everton are hopeful of sealing the deal for Carlo Ancelotti, and he also confirmed that the plan is for Duncan Ferguson to be involved in the backroom staff at some form of another. He didn't quite say he's going to be the assistant, but he said he'll definitely be involved in the backroom staff. And then Dominic King, last bit of information that we've sort of had today, a couple of hours ago, Dominic King coming out and saying that there's still a way to go before a deal is made. There's still a number of issues that need addressing. So a little bit of a sour note to end the night on, after Sky saying that there's a 4.5-year deal agreed and it's all done and dusted and it's all sorted. And TalkSport echoing the same, and the Telegraph echoing the same. Dominic King coming out and saying, listen, there's still a long way to go. You know, Farhad Moshiri did meet with Carlo Ancelotti, and they're very, very hopeful that a deal can be made, but there's still a way to go, and there's still a number of issues that need addressing. However, the offer is on the table. Now, just further going to that, Galim Balig went back on his words after saying yesterday that Carlo Ancelotti was in Rome and that he's due to go to Naples and then due to go on holiday to Vancouver. He's not looking to get back into football. He then come out with a tweet today which sort of stumbled back on his words and made a lot of people think that his original tweet was just a load of rubbish, really. And he said that he's in London, and he confirmed that Ancelotti was in London today with Farhad Moshiri, having a face-to-face meeting about the potential of taking over. He said that Ancelotti's original plan was not to get back into football yet, was to wait it for a couple of months and get back into football in the summer. He did say that he was interested in a move to England. He said that if Everton can strike a deal with Carlo Ancelotti, he will be made the third highest paid manager in world football. Now that is just absolutely, it's quite unfathomable, really, isn't it? It's, you know, it's a bit mad. The third highest paid manager in world football, and he said that Carlo Ancelotti is really interested in the offer and he's taking it under serious consideration with his team, and that's pretty much where we're up to now. You know, again, yesterday it was Carlo Ancelotti had agreed the deal in principle to come to Everton, and then Everton coming out and saying nothing had been agreed yet, and today we've had it all again. You know, Sky saying it's all been agreed and it's all done and dusted and it could be announced on Thursday and Friday. A lot of other journalists, a lot of other sources agreeing with that. But then, you know, Dominic King, who's quite a reliable source, saying it's far from done and there's still a lot of work to do. And a lot of other sources saying that if it does get done, or when it gets done, if it's an eventuality, he will be, you know, one of the highest paid managers in world football. And I think everybody can agree it's an absolutely massive coup for Everton Football Club. You know, Carlo Ancelotti, just to list some of his achievements, 2 world's best club coaches. He's won 3 UEFA Champions Leagues, 1 Premier League, 1 German League, 1 Italian League, an FA Cup, 3 Champions League runner-ups, 3 Super Cups, 2 Club World Cups, a French League, an Italian Cup, a Spanish Cup, an Italian Super Cup, an English Community Shield as well. One thing he hasn't won there for note is a Carabao Cup, which he could very well win if he comes in and we end up beating Leicester tomorrow. But that is the focus, obviously, to beat Leicester tomorrow. But like I said, just to give my brief opinion on it, because I've given my opinion on the last couple of live seasons, but I haven't really sat down and purely spoken about Carlo Ancelotti in himself individually, because it's only, like I said, over the last 24 hours that the rumours have really started to become a little bit more serious about the potential of him becoming manager at Everton. And I think, you know, listen, there is worries about Carlo Ancelotti, and there's there's a feeling there with Evertonians, a little bit of a subconscious feeling, a worrying feeling that, you know, sort of says, well, he hasn't really managed a set of players like ours. He hasn't really managed at the level that we're currently at. He's used to managing teams that have got everything in place and just coming in and adding a little bit of his own touch, and, you know, taking world-class players to an even better level, or taking very, very good players to a world-class level. He's not really used to coming in and managing, you know, a group of players that maybe aren't necessarily at that stage yet. However, when you look at his resume, when you look at his CV, when you look at the honours that he's won as a manager, he's probably the most coveted manager in world football at the minute. When you look at what he's won in the Premier League as well, and the fact that he's proven in the Premier League, a Premier League trophy, you know, an FA Cup as well, a Community Shield, it would be massively, massively silly, I think, for Everton to turn down the opportunity to bring in Carlo Ancelotti as the Everton manager. Now, the fact that he's going to be paid, you know, be the third highest paid manager in the world is something that I think, you know, some fans might have a different opinion to others on. But I think it's almost certain that what we're going to get with Carlo Ancelotti is a manager that knows exactly how to win and knows exactly what tactics to use to win as well. And I think it's massively important, like I said, that Duncan Ferguson is also at the heart of Carlo Ancelotti's you know, approach and Carlo Ancelotti's way of playing, because, you know, the thing that Ancelotti's got against him is that he doesn't necessarily know Everton Football Club. He doesn't, you know, he hasn't worked with this group of players before. He hasn't worked with a set of players that have got, you know, let's say, on as you know, or aren't at the level that he's used to playing at, whereas Duncan Ferguson is. Duncan Ferguson over the past 2 weeks has proved that he can get these players riled up for the game of football. He can get them fighting, he can get them battling, he can get them playing for the fans and playing for the badge. And I think it'd be massively, massively important, and I think it'd be a fantastic mix to have somebody like Duncan Ferguson there who can bring all that to the table, and somebody like Carlo Ancelotti who can bring the tactical prowess that obviously Duncan Ferguson will lack due to a lack of experience. You know, having Carlo Ancelotti as the Everton manager would really, really be for me a massive honour, and it will, you know, he is the best manager out there, you know, for us to get, and it would also show massive amounts of ambition that we've been screaming at the club for quite some time now. You know, we've all been at the, you know, the club's back for years and years about the lack of ambition, and the lack of ambition shown when bringing in managers and bringing in players. One thing that Carlo Ancelotti would, you know, the appointment of Carlo Ancelotti would show was a massive amount of ambition shown by the club. And again, similarly regarding players, he's a massive name in world football, and I believe there'd be a lot of players that would want to come and play under Carlo Ancelotti, especially in the Premier League as well. So, listen, obviously we'll have to see how this story develops again over the next 24 hours. I'm sure there'll be a lot more twists and turns before, you know, tomorrow night's game. You know, for me, we should be focusing purely on tomorrow night's game, because it could be the last time that Duncan Ferguson's in charge of Everton for quite some time. And, you know, it is a massively important game, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's a game that we need to go out. It's a game that we need to win. We haven't won this competition before. We're playing a real good team, a real tough team at home. So we need to go out there and we need to show that we can put up another fierce battle and fight, another top performance, and go out and win. And then we'll see what happens with Carlo Ancelotti in the future. But hopefully it's looking positive at the minute. Hopefully it remains positive. We'll have to see how it goes over the next, like I said, 24 hours and until the announcement is made. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. We'll keep you updated every single day on the managerial situation, as well as giving live game reviews and previews to all of the games that we are due to play as well. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter for you know, a little bit more of an in-depth, well, not an in-depth, a little bit more of a frequent breakdown and a frequent information flow, obviously, because I'm literally on the Twitter pretty much every minute of the day tweeting about the managerial situation. So don't forget to follow us all over there. It's at Mighty Blues YT underneath me, as you can see. Please do hit that like button if you have enjoyed today's video. It means a massive amount to me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. Massive game for Everton tomorrow. Don't forget to check out the reactions after the match, as well as the live game review on Thursday night, discussing obviously hopefully what will be a good win for the Mighty Blues tomorrow. Anyway, big thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the potential of Carlo Ancelotti coming in and becoming the next Everton manager. Exciting times, shows for me a massive amount of ambition, and you know, it's a little bit surreal that we could have a manager, for me, of the quality of Carlo Ancelotti and the experience of Carlo Ancelotti managing our football club. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please hit that like button if you have enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Don't forget to stay in touch. Don't forget to stay involved with all the content that is coming over the next couple of days, especially after the Leicester game tomorrow. Big thanks for watching. Come on, you Blues. Up the toffees. And yeah, Carlo Ancelotti, eh? Who'd have thought it? Cheers for watching.